Hello, this is Keith, welcoming you to the 1978th edition of the Enfield Talking newspaper, Dateline the 6th of November 2014. The readers this week are Janet, Sally, Colin and Keith, with Robin on the controls. The items that we will be reading come from our local newspapers, the Enfield Gazette and Advertiser and the Enfield Independent, and are their copyright. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Briley, Ferdinand Bouillon and Harry Brewer. It's performed by Jean-Jacques Perry and is used with his kind permission. Local stories include Plan to Unlock Parks Delayed and Malicious Lies. Our usual two news items this week. The Home Library Service is part of Enfield Libraries and provides a delivery service to people living in the borough who are unable to visit a branch library due to age, mobility, disability or their caring responsibilities. We visit each of our members every 4 weeks. The service is free and we will tailor it to your taste. For visually impaired people, we can provide books in large print or recorded books on CD or cassette. We can also bring music on CD or films on DVD for people with some vision. Members are free to reserve particular items. If you would like to join the Home Library Service or know someone who would, please call 01992 716 010 and we will arrange for the Community Access Librarian to visit you. I'll give you that number again, it's 01992 716 010. The Enfield Macular Disease Support Group meets on the second Wednesday of every month from 10 a.m. to 12 noon at the Trinity Church Hall, Gentleman's Row, Enfield EN2 6AN. The meetings are open to anyone affected by central vision loss, and carers are welcome too. For further details, please contact Alan Newson on 020 8886 5659. That's Alan Newson on 020 886 5659. If you are experiencing any problems receiving your Enfield Talking newspaper, please phone Diane de Jersey on 020 8805 6578. She is your listener's representative and she will be pleased to help you. That's Diane de Jersey and her number is 020 8805 6578. Now Janet will read the first item of local news.
A decision on controversial plans to leave some of the borough's parks unlocked overnight has been delayed for 6 months. A meeting of Enfield Council's Overview and Scrutiny Committee heard that it would be April at the earliest before a decision is reached on the proposal. In the meantime, Cabinet Member for the Environment and Community Safety, Chris Bond, has pledged to consult further with residents and parks protection societies. A council spokesman said that Mr. Bond had decided to continue consultation after hearing views from parks representatives affected by the borough's proposals that are aimed at saving money. Mr. Bond said, "We value our parks and the friends groups that assist us in running them. I've always offered to attend friends groups meetings when they want me to, and that offer still holds. I would urge those concerned to contact me so we can fully explain the decision and how it would affect parks." Jerry Sanders from Bush Hill Park Bowls Club and Tennis Club in Abbey Road, who is worried that clubs which play in public parks could close down as a result of vandalism if gates stay unlocked overnight, welcomed the delay. He told the Advertiser that the original proposals seemed to work against the council's commitment to getting residents active. "If this means that councillors are taking notice of the opposition, then that is a good thing," he said. But the original proposals seem to go against the council's interest in recreation and getting both younger and older people involved in recreation. It often seems in the council as though the left hand does not know what the right hand is doing. Concerns have also been voiced about an increase in antisocial behaviour if parks are left unlocked. However, the council insists that locking gates overnight does little to deter this, and other boroughs that have made this decision have not seen any increase in trouble. Joanne Laban, deputy leader of the council's Conservative group, said, I'm pleased that Mr. Bond, as a result of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee, has decided to delay implementation of this scheme and to work with both the Friends and groups and the police.
The Wikipedia page of a former MP caught up in the expenses scandal has been edited. A section entitled Involvement in the Expenses Scandal was removed from the online encyclopedia's entry for former Labour MP Joan Ryan. The editing appears to have been done anonymously from an IP address located within the Houses of Parliament. The Wikipedia page has since been changed back to its original form. In 2010, the former MP for Enfield North was asked to repay nearly £5,000 of mortgage interest claims after an audit of NP's expenses found she had overclaimed. Ms Ryan, who has been selected as the Labour parliamentary candidate for Enfield North ahead of next year's general election, told the Enfield Independent any allegations she changed the entry was categorically untrue and to suggest otherwise was wrong. She said, "I do not even have access to the parliamentary internet network from which these changes were made. This is a politically motivated smear campaign against me. The people of Enfield will not be fooled by these smear tactics. They know that I served this constituency with honesty and integrity for 13 years and would do so again if I am elected next year. I will not let the people behind these malicious lies get away with distracting people's attention away from the issues that really matter to the people of Enfield, such as the future of Chase Farm Hospital after David Cameron's decision to axe our A&E and maternity services. This is not the first time Ms Ryan's page has been doctored, as it was found in 2012 she made persistent attempts to remove information about her expenses claims from her Wikipedia page. Last year, the former MP was selected as the Labour candidate to fight her old seat, which she lost to Conservative MP Nick Dubois in 2010. Mr Dubois said, "People on the doorstep still talk about Joan Ryan's part in the expenses scandal, even though it was years ago. Sadly, this type of behaviour is the old politics, and no amount of editing can hide how badly she let down her constituents."
Pictures show rockets and bangers lighting up the night sky above Enfield when crowds gathered for an annual firework display. Enfield Scouts celebrated its 40th firework display in the town park last Saturday with more than 10,000 fireworks, using more than half a ton of gunpowder over the evening for the delight of the 7,000-strong crowd. Money raised at the event will go towards supporting scouting in Enfield. True Bangra Beats, two scouts who have made a musical name for themselves by mixing the Indian dole drum with disco beats, provided entertainment before the display. Jags Bart, one of the pair, said, "When people buy tickets to watch the display, they often don't realise that the money will be going to support hundreds of young people in Enfield. I was so proud to see so many people at the event having fun and enjoying themselves. It was a great example of the local community coming together at a scouting event. The event was run by volunteer scout leaders who have earned professional fireworks display qualifications. Young scout members also attended as marshals for the event, with St John Ambulance providing emergency cover. Paul Simons, District Commissioner for Enfield Scouts, said it was a fantastic evening. Once again, we were able to deliver a spectacular and safe family display. Event organiser Mark Dowsett added, "It was a brilliant show this year, thanks to the support of our many volunteers who gave up their time to make it possible for families to see a fantastic and safe show for less than the cost of a box of fireworks."
Plans are gathering pace to redevelop the site of Chase Farm Hospital, including proposals to build houses and a school. The Royal Free London NHS Foundation Hospital Trust took over the trust which ran Chase Farm in July and has pledged to build a new improved hospital on the site in the Ridgeway, Enfield, as well as houses and a primary school, after the current hospital buildings were deemed not fit for purpose. And at a stakeholders meeting, representatives from the trust revealed further details, including a plan to put the revamped hospital in 17 acres of the 39-acre site, with a new primary school on 4 acres and houses on the rest of the site. The Royal Free Trust will not build the primary school or the houses and will sell off the land with planning permission in a bid to raise between £30 and £40 million for the new hospital building. The Trust will receive £26.3 million in transitional funding over the next 5 years and is planning to invest between £109 and £120 million in the Chase Farm site, funded partly by the sale of land. Nick Dubois, the MP for Enfield North, in whose constituency the hospital is situated, is calling on residents who live close to Chase Farm to give their feedback directly to him if they are not able to make it to future stakeholders' meetings. He said, if constituents would welcome an update of progress on this important matter, please do contact me and I will ensure you receive the latest information. You may email me on nick.dubois.mp@parliament.uk, all lowercase letters and Dubois is one word, or write to me at 605 Hertford Road, Enfield, EN3 6UP. Speaking to the Advertiser, Andrew Panica, Director of Capital and Estates at the Royal Free Trust, said the proposals for the site will be with Enfield Council's Planning Committee by November the 18th, and that finding out what residents want for the site is paramount in consideration. We have met with residents at 3 separate events in and around the area, he said. We are always keen to keep people up to date on exactly where we are and have invited 5,000 residents to a special meeting in Holt White Sports Club to discuss the proposals further. Chase Farm's Accident and Emergency Department and Maternity Unit were closed last year amid widespread opposition. The Royal Free Trust is hoping to be granted planning consent this month for the land it aims to sell and to start the main building work in January 2016.
On Armistice Day, Tuesday, November the 11th, a service will be held at Broomfield Park in Palmer's Green at 10:30am. On Saturday, November 15, will mark the parade of Jewish ex-servicemen and women at the synagogue in Old Farm Avenue, Southgate at 11am. The Arctic Convoy commemoration will then take place at 2:45 outside the Civic Centre in Silver Street, Enfield. Enfield Borough Council leader, Councillor Doug Taylor, said, "Once again, it is time to remember all those who served or gave their lives in conflict for their country. I know that the people of Enfield will want to take part in this occasion, as they always do, to commemorate the lives of those we have lost and will show their commitment to our service men and women. This year's services will be particularly poignant as they mark 100 years since the start of the First World War."
Council chiefs have agreed to invest £16 million over 3 years on redeveloping customer services. Enfield Borough Council will invest the total as part of the Enfield 2017 scheme that aims to generate ongoing savings of £29 million per year from 2017 to 2018. Council leader, Councillor Doug Taylor, stated that the redevelopment of frontline services will ensure a better, simpler and quicker transaction. As part of the bid to make savings, Enfield Homes will be merged back into the council on April 1st, 2015. The local authority has been tasked with saving £60 million during the next 3 years. All Cabinet members relayed the importance of the scheme, with Councillor Ahmet Oykana Cabinet Member for Housing, stating the scheme was slightly late, but the Council is heading in the right direction. Following the agreement, the proposal will now go to full Council for approval. Cabinet Member for Finance, Councillor Andrew Stafford, revealed earlier this year that the Council is right on the edge with cuts made to their budget.
Enfield has topped a list of the top 10 haunted places most searched for online in the UK. The borough appears in 1st and 7th place in a list of haunted locations searched for by users of the internet search engine Bing. The most popular search was for the Green Street poltergeist, in which 2 of 4 children living in a house in Brimsdown village in 1977 claimed furniture was moving by itself and they constantly heard knocking sounds from the walls. One of the children was Janet Hodgson, an 11-year-old schoolgirl who appeared to be possessed by a man who had died several years before and even spoke with his voice. A female police constable said she saw a chair slide across the floor but could not say if it moved by itself. Other claims include levitation furniture being moved through the air and flying objects. Reports came to an end in 1979. The 7th most popular search was for reports of a phantom coach in Bell Lane. In December 1961, Boys Brigade member Robert Bird was cycling to his meeting when he saw the lights of a speeding black coach that he was certain would hit him. He braced himself for the collision, but said the coach passed through him and disappeared. According to some, the ghostly sighting was the coach that used to drive along a road through marshland in the 1700s, while others claimed it belonged to a judge notorious for putting supporters of the Duke of Monmouth to death in the 1600s after his failed uprising against James II.
Plans for a high-speed rail link to Enfield, with a proposed revamp for New Southgate Station, are on track to boost the borough's economy. The benefits the proposed £50 billion Crossrail 2 extension would also bring in economic investment and increasing the number of visitors to the area have been welcomed by Enfield Southgate MP David Burrows and the leader of Enfield Council, Doug Taylor. Details of Transport for London's preferred route were outlined by Mayor of London Boris Johnson. The new service, which will not be operational until 2031, will run through London and link Hertfordshire with Surrey and slash journey times between North East and South West London. The chosen route follows extensive public consultation, which was carried out last year. The Department for Transport will now invite views on plans to protect the proposed route by ring-fencing land that may be needed in constructing the line. The extension was described as a massive deal for the borough by Mr Taylor. It will significantly improve transport links to Enfield and give residents greater mobility and personal freedom to access job opportunities and services, he said. It will reduce congestion, drive economic growth and revitalise the borough's economy. Research shows that property prices go up near transport hubs and the money spent on transport infrastructure generates significant increases in business sales, and getting people on trains will help to significantly reduce the borough's carbon footprint. The decision supports the council's efforts to attract investment and better transport infrastructure to the borough. We are a business-friendly council, and Crossrail 2 coming to Enfield will be a real boon to companies in New Southgate and further afield. Mr Burrows said he was pleased that New Southgate was on the preferred route. The extension will reduce journey times, increase network interchanges and support regeneration in the local area, he added.
Alarming figures have revealed there has been an increase in people waiting longer than 4 hours in an A&E department. Figures from NHS England show that 1,898 people waited more than 4 hours at North Middlesex University Hospital's A&E unit in Stirling Way, Edmonton, in the past 3 months, 521 more than the same period in 2013. The hospital, which has had its increase in patients since the closure of Chase Farms A&E in December 2013, has also seen a rise in the number of patients waiting on a trolley in A&E. A total of 959 patients waited longer than 4 hours, 430 more than the 3-month period last year. 2 months ago, health watchdog, the Care Quality Commission, found that the A&E Edmonton Hospital required improvement and that more needed to be done by the Trust to make sure good quality care was maintained. Watchdog Health Watch Enfield stated in its weekly A&E data that there have been longer waits in A&E at North Middlesex recently. It went on, as a result, a recovery plan has been produced to address the continued poor performance against the A&E standard. We've been closely monitoring this since the recovery plan was introduced at the beginning of August. The recovery plan has appeared to improve waiting times since it was implemented, but there have been some weeks where waiting times have increased. This week appears to be a difficult week for North Middlesex. Edmonton MP Andy Love said the figures were alarming. He said local people just want to know that the NHS is safe for this generation and the ones that follow. Seeing alarming figures about A&E waits rising at our local NHS trust is not going to make them feel that the government is serious about protecting the NHS, whereas the Time to Care Fund would do just that. A spokesman for the hospital said, attendances at our A&E department are expected to have grown by almost 26,000 this year, compared to last, and we have recruited 11 more A&E doctors and 16 more A&E nurses to support this growth. Whilst there's been a slight relative increase in the number of patients who have waited more than 4 hours, we've continued to meet the national 95% 4-hour wait target for all A&E patients in the first and second quarters of this year.
2 of the borough's MPs struck a pose as chip van vendors in support of a new dog microchipping website. Nick Dubois of Enfield North and Andy Love of Edmonton took to serving free chips behind a mocked-up van at the annual House of Commons reception. It marked the launch of the Dog Trust's chipmydog.org.uk website in preparation for a new law aimed at tackling an increase in stray dogs. Mr. Dubois said he supported the charity's campaign and welcomed the introduction of compulsory microchipping for all dogs. He added, it will make it easier to reunite lost dogs with owners and cut unnecessary kennelling costs for local authorities. The new law will come into force from April 2016, and owners who do not microchip their animal could be fined up to £500. Mr. Love said, I urge my dog-owning constituents to get their canine companions microchipped and visit chipmydog.org.uk to find out more about this vital component of dog welfare before the new law comes into force.
A blue plaque is to be placed at a house in Winchmore Hill to commemorate wildlife photography pioneer Oliver Gregory Pike, who lived there for more than 30 years. The plaque has been organised by Richard Purver from Southgate District Civic Trust and is co-sponsored by Enfield Grammar School, where Mr. Pike was a pupil until 1893. It will be unveiled by 2 of Mr. Pike's grandsons, Jonathan and Richard Dollymore, later this month. Mr. Pike was an author, a naturalist and a well-respected wildlife photographer. He was born in 1877 and died in 1963. He was also a noted technological pioneer, developing equipment and new camera techniques for both photography and cinefilms. Mr. Pike travelled the country taking nature photographs and giving lectures. He has been described by Sir David Attenborough as a pioneering figure in his field. The plaque will be unveiled at 96 Green Dragon Lane, where Mr. Pike lived with his family between 1882 and 1914 on Sunday, November the 16th at 2 p.m. Peter Hodge from Southgate District Civic Trust lives in Halstead Road, where Mr. Pike also lived briefly. He said, "I came across one of his many books in a second-hand bookshop. I discovered he was a pioneer, developing technology unknown at the time, making cinefilms of birds nesting. He didn't always name the location in his books because he was sensitive about the possibility of disturbance to wildlife, but much of his photography was done in Enfield."
GPs in Enfield are urging people at risk to have the flu jab this winter. Groups most at risk of developing serious complications as a result of flu include those aged 65 or over, pregnant women, people with a long-term condition such as a heart problem, diabetes and breathing difficulties including bronchitis or emphysema. People with a weakened immune system, all children aged between 2 and 4 years old, and carers for an elderly or disabled person are also included.
A care home that supports people with learning difficulties and autism has been praised in its latest inspection. Craigmore's Devonshire Road Care Home in Palmer's Green was praised for its well-led, caring and effective services by the Care Quality Commission. The inspection report said, "The service had quality assurance systems and records showed that identified problems and opportunities to change things for the better were addressed promptly."
A man was rescued from a flat fire. Firefighters saved the man from the blaze at a block of flats in Gilder Avenue at the junction with Mollison Avenue in Enfield. One flat was damaged from the fire, which started at approximately 7:52 a.m. 4 fire engines and 21 firefighters from Enfield and Edmonton fire stations attended the scene and had the fire under control by 9:03. The cause of the fire is still being investigated.
We have now reached the end of side 1 of this tape. Please stop your machine now, take out the cassette, turn it over and start side 2.